to another edition of the Sewing Guru, and in this video I'm going to show you how to construct and attach your back pockets onto the back panels of your jeans. So basically, as you can see, the back panel of jeans has the back pockets onto them. And the back pockets are basically a patch pocket, okay, so there's no lining or anything like that involved. There's simply, you've cut out the pockets, the seam edges are folded over, and it's just sewn on. So it's sewn on as a patch pocket, okay. Now, I'm just going to show you with my jeans panel that it is, I've altered my pattern to obviously to fit me, okay. So this panel is, as you can see, the same size as this panel here, okay. So you've got here the side seams, you've got here the crutch and the seat part, you've got the yoke seam here, and it's exactly the same as the back panel here on my commercially bought jeans. So what I have to do, because I haven't cut my pocket out yet, I mean, if you've cut your pocket out already, that's fine, great, but I have not cut out my pocket yet. So basically what I need to do is, this is the pattern for my pocket, and as you can see, it is roughly the same shape, but I'm going to alter the size slightly, okay, because of course I want my pockets to be slightly bigger than what we've got on the pattern. So what we need to do is, I need to just measure this pocket that we have on the back of these jeans here. So with the seam allowances, we've got 1 centimetre added there, and because this is a rolled up seam, we've got 2 centimetres because it's rolled over 1 and then rolled over another 2 centimetres. So we're going to be adding another 3 centimetres to the size of our pocket. Okay, so this pocket measures 16.5, so I'm going to add on another 3, so that's going to make it 19.5 centimetres. So if I measure this pocket here, I'm going to add on another 1.5 centimetres or maybe 2 centimetres to the size of this, and also I'm going to add on another centimetre to the width, because this pocket is wider. Okay, so now that I've got those measurements, I don't need these jeans anymore. I can just put my pattern piece onto the fabric. Okay, now my fabric is doubled over, as you can see, and I'm just going to position my pocket on there like so. And of course we're going to be adding bits on, so I need to bring that further down a bit. Okay, so I think that's fine. I'm just going to put a few pins in here like so, and of course straight away I'm going to be cutting out 2 pieces because I've put it on double fabric. Okay, so just putting this pattern piece on here and put another pin over here as well, as to secure all this in place. Okay, I'll put another pin here as well, make all this nice and taut. Okay, and once we've done that, we can now start chalking out the size. Okay, so I'm going to add on, in fact I'm going to add on another 1.5 centimetres, say 2 centimetres. Well, actually I'm going to add on another 1.5 centimetres to the top here. Okay, like so. I mean, with a pattern, there is no right and wrong rules, okay? You can just make up your own sizes, own pockets, everything. You know, there is no right and wrong way of doing this, as long as you've got your basic shape. So I'm just going to make my pocket just slightly bigger all the way around, like so, as long as we've got our basic shape. Okay, and of course it's got to be equal on all sides. Okay, so if I measure that, we've got a centimetre there, centimetre there. In fact, I'm going to make that slightly narrower, but I'm happy with that. So I can now cut out my fabric, my pocket, like so. And what I like to do is just cut out half, where you can do the whole of the top part there. Okay, but if I just going to bring this pin just further over to there. Yeah, what I mean by half is I've got a half point here. I'm just going to turn that over and see if that is exactly right. In fact, it is stitching on the chalk marks exactly, so that's fine. That's going to be exactly the same. It's totally symmetrical. You can just carry on cutting out our pockets here. Like so. So there's our pockets cut out, okay? And we've got a left and a right. So what we need to do now, in fact, just take off our pattern piece, like so. Okay, and we don't need the pattern anymore, we've got that. And of course, if you fold over your pocket, it's completely isometrical, so it's exactly the same on both sides. So that means that we can use this pocket for a left or a right. It doesn't matter which we use. Okay, so the first thing what we're going to do is we are going to create our top seam. So what we're going to do is just fold over, so you need to be seeing the wrong side of your pocket. Okay, so that's the right side, this is the wrong side, and we just need to press over this seam like so. Yeah, and again do that with your other one as well, and make sure that you've got this so it's exactly the same on both of your pockets. Okay, so you can just put them side by side and just press the seam over like so. Okay, so we know that this is exactly the same here on this side, and we can just check it on the other side as well, which is exactly the same. When we've got that, we can just roll this over again, so then that seam has completely disappeared inside, and just press that again down again. Okay, and we're just going to just put some pins. Actually, we can just, I'm just going to make that, you got to make sure that this is the same width, okay, right along, otherwise it's going to look wrong. So just going to move that over a bit. That's better. Okay, it needs to be the same width seam right along. Just put a couple of pins in there just to hold that seam down, and again we're going to be just folding this seam over again, and again you just need to align those two panels together, make sure that the seams are the same, and again just press this in place. Okay, like so, and again make sure that they're the same, which they are, they're the same width. So when we've got that, we can just put some pins in here as well, like so. Okay, and when we've got that, what you need to do, again, we're top stitching this, so you need your top stitching thread, and we're going to be doing a double row. So we're going to be stitching this seam down, okay, right on the edge, from here to here, and we're also going to be stitching again on the top, across here, to create this double row of stitching, which you will see on the correct side. Okay, so what you need to do is do that, your double row of stitching on both sides. Right, so when you've done that, as you can see, I've put my double row of top stitching in both of my pockets. Okay, what you need to do is you need to do the next part. So simply go to the bottom of your pocket and turn this 1 centimetre over like so, and again do that for the other side. Like so. Okay, and you need to just make sure that this is all isometrical, okay, so it's the same on all sides. So as you can see, mine here is the same width across there, so we know that that is fine and that's correct. Okay, so the next part is, of course, this here. If we can see the pattern here, this is wider than this part here. So what I like to do is just fold this over. Let's just have a look. I'll give you the measurements as we're going. Okay, I like to fold mine over 2 centimeters in width. Okay, tapering down to 1 centimeter down at this point here. Okay, so just press that in place. Like so. Okay, so as you can see, that is it's folded back further here than it is here. So we've got 2 centimeters there. So again, do that on the other side. 2 centimeters, tapering down to 1 centimeter on that side, on the other, bottom side. So just press that in place. Okay, so if we turn this over, you can see you've got a really nice shaped pocket there. Okay, and I'm just going to put a couple of pins in here as to position that down and keep the shape. Okay, and of course we're going to do that with our other pocket as well. Okay, so I'm going to just fold this pocket, yeah, as I've done this one, and then we're ready to attach these pockets onto the actual back of our jean panels. Right, so as you can see, I've pressed both of my pockets. Now, what I always do as well is just position them on top of each other to make sure that they're exactly the same in width, across, down in length as well, so that everything is lying totally isometrical, so that I know that they're exactly the same in size. And when I'm happy with that, I'm now going to position my pocket onto the back panel of my jeans. Alright, now you've got your pattern, so if you want to, you can position them to the markings of your pattern if you like, but I like to just be slightly different and just position the pockets where I think they should go on the back panel. Okay, so we've got here the back panel, got here the centre back seam, the crotch point, and we have here the side seam of our panel as well. And I always like to have my pocket positioned 4 centimeters down from this seam here, which attaches to the yoke. So the first thing what we're going to do is measure this 4 centimeters down and put a pin in there, 4 centimeters down, and again over here 4 centimeters down, put a pin, and put another one over here as well. So I always like to work with pins, you see, and measurements. Okay, so we know that that is going to be totally straight. Okay, and I also like my pocket to be slightly closer to the side seam than the centre back seam. Okay, so for instance, I've got my pocket positioned like that, so we've got it 5 centimeters there, and on this side it's 7 centimeters, so that's fine. So we can position that 5 centimeters from this point here. So again, we're going to be putting a pin there. Okay, now of course what you need to do is you need to position your pocket so that it's running straight across near the seam here. Okay, so we're just going to position that exactly here where we've measured it from the side and then to this pin point here. Okay, and we're just going to put some pins onto and position the pocket in line just here. So put your pins so the pocket is positioned onto the back panel, and then it's not going to go anywhere. Put another pin over here as well, and just keep that nice and steady just here, like so. Okay, so that is our pocket now positioned. Now we can put another pin here as well. Okay, and another pin here as well, just to hold that in place. Okay, and when you're happy with that, which, yeah, I'm happy with that, that looks nice and straight, that looks good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to attach this pocket onto this panel first before I attach the other pocket in place as well, and I'll show you why when I've attached this pocket. So what we're doing is, again, we're going to be doing a top stitching, okay, and what I do is I do it in one complete go. Okay, so basically you've got your top stitching, which is going to be, you've got your 2 centimeters here, alright, so that obviously the top stitching is going to be wider here than it is at this point here. So this is the only point where our top stitching is going to appear wider. Now I'll just show you on a pair of commercially bought jeans how the top stitching sits. Okay, so as you can see, the top stitching is wider here, and all of the rest is 1 centimeter. So this is 1 centimeter in width, this is, okay, and then that tapers out to a wider point. But of course your top stitching is the same all the way around the edge. Okay, so what you can do is you could start from this point here and go right along, all the way along like so, across there, and then across like so, and then do this top stitching across here. Okay, and when you've done that, when you've done your double row, but obviously you're not going to top stitch the top because that's already done, so you're only going along these parts here, leaving the top open. And when you've done that top stitching, you can then do a bit more of another stitch to go over a few times here, back and forth, and do that on this side here, because of course this needs to be secure onto the jeans. Okay, so that's how you do your top stitching. So you need to incorporate that top stitching onto the back panel here. So I'm going to go and do that right now. So here we are at the sewing machine, and this is the edge and the top of our pocket. So I'm going to top stitch now the edge first. Okay, so start off at the top, down with the foot, back tack. Okay, and just stitch this in place right along the edge. Okay, like so. And as you can see, we've got a top stitching stitch. Okay, so it's 4 in length is this stitch. So we'll come into the edge of the cloth, up with the foot, and then down the back. Okay, so we're nearly now reaching the middle point here of the pocket. One more, and then up with the cloth. Always make sure that your cloth is nice and straight. All the way to the end. Again, one more. Turn the cloth round. And again, just hold everything nice and taut. Make sure that it's all nice and straight on the fabric. Up to the other side, like so. And just take the pin out as well, because of course these pins, they're only there to be held. They're just holding the pocket in place. Okay, and now we've reached the top. So again, because I was talking about doing it in one go, we now need to go across the top, okay, until we reach sort of, you can see the raw edge underneath. Okay, once you've reached that point, we can then now go back down the pocket, and of course we are tapering this pocket in. Okay, so of course it's wider at the top and we're now tapering to the centimetre at the bottom seam here. Okay, now it might take a bit of practice to get it looking right, okay, but you will get there. Just keep at it. So we can just keep going. One more there, that's fine. And again, because we're now going up to the top of the pocket again, we're now tapering, okay, and I'm just going to measure that, so that's 1.5, so I've got my tape measure here in place, so to make sure that it's going to be the same width of stitching, okay. So we've got there, we've reached the top again, and now we can now do our back and forth. So forward, back, forward, back. Just secure that pocket in place, okay? And we can just cut this here, our top stitching, and again we can go to the other side and just go forward and back. Now I've just realised what you could do is you could have done this forward and back motion when you were on this side before, okay? So you can do that, or you can do it like me, where you can do it afterwards, alright? But that is our top stitching now done, and we can take this now back over to the ironing board and give this a press and prepare for the next pocket. So as you can see, I've attached this back pocket onto the back panel, and as you can see, all of the top stitching is all nice in line. So here of course it's wider than it is down here, and again it's the same on this side, it's wider here than it is down here. So when you're happy with that, just give it a press like so, and what we're going to do now is prepare for our other panel to put the pocket on the other panel. So you need to get your other panel and just position that exactly on top of this panel that you've just done, okay? Because what we're going to do is we're going to press quite hard and cause an imprint where the pocket is going to be, okay? It's just a bit quicker, and I like to do it this way, so make sure that everything is totally aligned and it's all exactly the same around here and around the side and the top, so it's all aligned, and give this a real nice press, okay, and then really press down where your pocket is. Okay, like so. Now turn this over, and again just press again where the pocket is, and just take away this top part, and you'll be able to have a slight imprint of where the pocket is going to sit. So what you need is you need your other pocket, and I can see that that is where our pocket is going to sit. I can sort of see the imprint. You might not be able to see that from there, but I can see with my eyes a slight imprint of where the pocket is, okay? And we now know roughly that this pocket is aligned, okay? And what we need to do is just measure this again against the seam, okay? So we were measuring it 4 centimeters down, which is exactly right, that's 4 centimeters. And on the side seam, this measured 5, so let's just measure this. Again, that's 5, so that's just about right, so that's fine. Okay, and we can measure here as well to where this part of the pocket is down here, across to the side, and that's 5.5. So again, if we measure that, you see that needs to just be brought in very slightly. That's 5.5. Make sure all this is still aligned. bring that down slightly. That's 4, that's 4, and that's 4. Okay, so now we can start putting our pins in to just secure this in place, because we know that this is practically bang on where our pocket was on the other panel. So we're just putting our pins in here just to keep this aligned. Okay, and we're just going to test this again to see if it's lying exactly right. Okay, so that is fine. Put our other panel where the pocket was created on top of this panel we're working on at the moment. Just put it on top, make sure that it's all aligned, it's all exactly the same. Yeah, make sure it's all correct down at the crotch, and then make sure this is all the same as well, and then just see if our pockets, you can see just underneath if our pockets are completely aligned, and of course they are. As I roll this back, you can clearly see that this is totally aligned. That there is the same. If we take this part off here, we can see that that's exactly the same. So now we know that this pocket is positioned in exactly the same as a mirror image to the other side, the other panel of the back. Okay, so I'll put another pin in here just to really secure this down and hold this in place. And now I'm ready to just top stitch this pocket on exactly as I did the other panel. So top stitch around the left, the bottom and the right side of the pocket and secure that in now. So as you can see, we've attached now both of our pockets in place. Okay, and they're really nice, they're all aligned and they're very secure because of course we've done our top back tacking here. Okay, and just give this a bit of a press. Press this down for both our pockets, like so, and here as well. Okay, now if I position, because it's very important that these have got to look isometrical, they've got to be the same. I'll just press that again. They've got to be the same on both panels, alright? So if I just position both panels on top of each other exactly right, so we'll get the crotch point and everything here, and the fronts, make sure that the tops are all aligned, and the side panels. Okay, if we peel this back, our pockets, actually that just needs to go a bit further across like so, that's it. So if we just peel this back, we can see that our pockets are exactly in alignment, okay, as you can see there. And if we peel that back, it's exactly the same right along, okay. And if I peel that back here, you can see that this pocket is exactly the same as there, the bottom pocket. And again, on this side here, you can see that this is all aligned, okay. And that there is totally straight on that side, and it's all aligned. Okay, so when you've done that and you're happy and you put your pocket in, we're now ready to go on to the next video where we will be attaching the left and right back panels together.